Okay, I got my coffee. We got some fish. You're listening to Around the Reef with Andrew Ponce. You know, it's a great time for sports, honestly. We got baseball playoffs. We got NBA. NBA starting the season. Football is in full swing. Taylor Swift has brought a lot to the NFL. A lot of new fans. I was joking with my buddy. I was like, the Kansas City Chiefs are literally America's team right now. Like, when in the last, I can't even tell you, but in a long time, a whole nation has literally, got behind one football team. And it's for a combination of reasons. So the Chiefs, they're good, obviously. They've been great. They've won multiple Super Bowls. Their quarterback, he's young, and the style that they play is really exciting. But they just have so many characters, and then throwing Travis Kelce into the mix. I mean, he's just a good player. And the thing about NFL versus baseball, because I play baseball, so I know more about baseball. But in football, it's pretty rare that you have a bad game necessarily. Like in baseball, say you had your girlfriend come to the game, right? And you strike out 4 times and you let the game-winning ground ball go right through your legs and you lose. You are definitely not a hero. You are the GOAT, actually, of the game. You are really you're hated, and it's embarrassing for them to know you. If your girlfriend comes to the game and you blow the game, that's rough, okay? And that really could happen in baseball. But in football, it's not really like that. I mean, I guess you could, drop a pass or you could, fumble at a really bad time. But honestly, I don't think that happens that much. So I'm saying, as a, if you were, your girlfriend came to the game, it's very likely that you're going to play well and it's going to be a good thing. It's going to be a good time for her. And also, the thing about football, too, is just, it's really, a great creation as far as, you play once a week, it's on Sunday, it's just, it's almost like an American holiday that happens once a week. So, good for T Swift. Good for T Swift. I was joking. I was like, it's kind of funny that she goes for an athlete now after, I guess, getting with a bunch of actors and musicians and all these creatives, Now she's into the athlete phase. And honestly, good for her. That's cool. In other sporting news, the Diamondbacks win the pennant. The Diamondbacks win the pennant. The Diamondbacks. Who would have thought? I mean, I'm a Dodger fan. I'm a Dodger, Laker, and LA King fan in the three sports. But, respect to the Diamondbacks. They've been a good team. They have a good, a very good young core that they've just developed, and a lot of their players, they just, it's a combination of being able to handle pressure, playing in the playoffs. Obviously, is a lot different than the regular season. As a Dodger fan, I know this well. I mean, if you look at the stats, we are the best regular season team over the past 20 years. It's us and the Atlanta Braves, okay? And I believe the Braves have won 1 title and we have won 1 title, but man, I mean, it's just the playoffs and the regular season, 2 totally different things. So, shout out to the Giants. Corbin Carroll is insane. I mean, they all have very interesting swings. It's almost they look they're almost like Japanese hitters. The way they they look like a bunch of Ichiros, but they rake though. I mean, Ichiro raked too, but all these guys just rake. I mean, and they have so many good young players. and their bullpen is playing really well right now. So, um, you know, let's see. And they're playing the Rangers. The Rangers are looking good too. The Rangers, they're like probably a team that if you'd have talked to me in the regular, like beginning of the season, they are a squad that you could see like, okay, I could see these guys getting to the World Series. Like they've definitely spent a ton of money. The Rangers, like they got Simeon, they got Corey Seager, they picked up Scherzer. What's left of Scherzer? I mean, he's still like, I mean, hey, if you got, I mean, they threw him in Game 7. Like, if you got Scherzer on your team and you're handing him the ball in Game 7, like, you're feeling pretty good. I mean, that's, if you're going down with Scherzer in Game 7, you're going down with your big guns. Okay, I think he's like the highest paid pitcher right now. And he's a little over the hill. I mean, I don't know. He's not throwing as hard as he used to, but he's still nasty, man. So, let's see. So baseball, yeah, no, I mean, I love the World Series. They both went Game 7. Both the NLCS and the ALCS both went Game 7. So that's cool. We'll see in the World Series, man. This is what it's all about. So good luck to both those squads. Transition into NBA because NBA is on everybody's mind. I love NBA, frankly. I played baseball. I'm a baseball guy, and I do like football. For me, it's like, okay, so I played baseball, but my love of baseball is different than my love of NBA, and it's different. Football is like, I'm an American. I like sports. So football is like, I'm kind of like supposed to like football, I guess. And I do, but basketball and baseball to me are like my number ones. And then hockey, but I'll get to hockey later. But basketball, like I never played because I'm a 5'10" white guy. Half white and half Mexican. But I just always loved the game, man. Like basketball is just so fun to watch. I was a Laker fan. I'm a Laker fan. Growing up, I watched Kobe. He was my favorite player. When I was really young, they had Shaq, of course, Kobe, Shaq, D-Fish, all the boys. And then, Pau Gasol. Like, that was kind of like really when I started getting into it, was like when we got Pau. And then, obviously like Kobe's later years. And then we kind of went through a dark age after Kobe tore the Achilles and he came back, but we sucked. Like we weren't that good. And we were getting like these high draft picks, went through a dark age, right? And then, I don't know, fuck it. Fast forward till now. I watched a game last night, first game of the season. New season, kind of just like, let's see who we got. Everybody's like saying like, oh man, the Lakes, like we're going to be really good this year. We got all this depth. Man, dude, I mean, it's hard to like say how good we're going to be because we were playing the best team with the best player that honestly I've ever seen in a while. Like, dude, Jokic doesn't miss. I don't think I've ever seen him miss. Same with Jamal Murray. I don't think they miss. Like, whenever, like, the last 5 games the Lakers have played have all been against the Denver Nuggets, like, that counted. And they just, like, don't miss. I don't know what to say. Like, as a fan, I'm like, dude, Jokic does this thing where he shoots it, like, he shoots it above his head like a grandpa shot. And it's just unblockable because he's huge. And it just goes in every time. And he's just got, like, great touch. I mean, he's got that, like, European, like, well-rounded game where he just, like, throws behind the back. He can throw passes, like, crazy passes. And he's just a hell of a player, man. I don't really know what to say. AD, I was watching like Stephen A and them this morning, and they're saying like, oh man, AD didn't score any points in the second half. And I didn't notice that. But yes, that's true. Upon further review, looking at the stats, AD did not score a point in the second half of the game. Which is tough, you know, like, dude, AD is so good. Like, I was watching him last night, and just some of the plays that he makes, you just go, man, like, I mean, nobody in the world can do that. It's just a very select few athletes in the world can play basketball. Like, I don't know if you've ever played basketball, like, when you personally get out on the court, it's really hard. Like, basketball, to look as good as these NBA players make it look, I think you just gotta respect it. So before you start like talking shit, like, oh man, like AD didn't score in the second half, like Stephen A, he needs to play better. It's like, bro, Stephen A, I've fucking seen your first pitch that you threw. You motherfucker have little athletic ability. I need to see you on a basketball court because that's your sport. But I'm just saying, being able to throw a fucking first pitch, that's like a litmus test on how athletic you are. Just hand a dude a baseball and let him throw it, and you'll see like, oh, you know. So, I don't know. You ever seen a tangent, but have you seen Giannis Antetokounmpo swing a baseball bat? It's hilarious. And like, obviously, he didn't grow up in America, so it's like pretty new to him, but it's just funny. It's like, man, this is like a mega athlete, but you hand him a baseball bat and he looks like a retard trying to hump a doorknob, dude. So funny. But yeah, no, Lakers got beat, man. We just got beat by a better team, honestly. Like, I don't know what to say at this point. They're just the Denver Nuggets are just a better squad right now. I mean, we'll see, man. And the thing about LeBron is like, so they're making a big deal about LeBron not playing a lot of minutes. I think he played 29 minutes in the game. I'm for that as a fan. And as just like a steward of the game, like I want LeBron to play long. I would be cool if he did like a Tom Brady type thing where like he played into his 40s. I think he's capable of doing that. I think LeBron could play, he can play with Bronny, and then he can play with his younger son. So I don't know what his younger son is, like a sophomore in high school or something like that, and Bronny will probably go to the league next year. But I really think that he could do that. But he's only going to be able to do that if he load manages. Like, we don't need him to play 40 minutes a night. He's the oldest player in the league. You know, like, just let him just dominate for 30 minutes. I think that limits his injury risk. And frankly, like the Lakers, we do have depth. We do have some depth. I mean, you know, and like Rui is in his athletic prime, you could say. So let him play some minutes, you know. And Reeves needs to, he's in his prime too. So they're going to play. Dude, speaking of Reeves, dude, I don't know if I can get it on camera, but dude, I'm rocking the Austin Reeves AR shoe. I got the Reeves shoe. I love this shoe. This is a cool ass shoe. If you guys are like looking for basketball shoes, they're a pain in the ass to break in, but once you break them in, they look sick. The Austin Reeves AR, the AR1. But let's see. And I'm not like my dad loves hockey, so we have like season tickets to the LA Kings. So I know a little bit of hockey. Um, all I know is that the last 5 games, dating back to a playoff game last year that we've all been to as a family, the Kings lost. So I'm kind of ready for the Kings to win a game that we actually go to. So that would be tight. But yeah, man, I'm trying to think. Is there much else in the sporting landscape? Um, I'll think of it if I think of something. But you know, in world news, there's a war going on in the Middle East. When will there be peace in the Middle East? We don't know. It's just kind of sad, like to think that all these people are dying, getting hurt. I mean, when you look at the numbers, I mean, the deaths are terrible, but then you see like the injureds, and it's like an insane number. Like tens of thousands of people have been injured, and you just kind of hope that these conflicts don't spiral into something that gets even worse. Um, that could bring like the whole world into fighting. I think that fighting is, I think like sometimes it's necessary, but it's also not. It's very complicated. It's like I just kind of hope the temperature of everybody can kind of come down so that there's less war and there's more peace. And obviously, from what I understand, there was like an attack on Jewish people, which is no bueno. And they have a right to defend themselves, but I think from what I've read and researched and all that, like they have a tendency to go kind of hard in retaliation. I'm talking like Israel can like retaliate pretty hard, and then you risk like if you go in and just like blow them to smithereens, that could trigger other nations getting into the fight. Like Iran could join Hamas, and then all of a sudden the United States is in it, and now it's like, I mean, man, it could just like really spiral. And honestly, like I don't know if that benefits anybody. I don't know, like from a business standpoint, like stocks are kind of like going sideways because there could be a friggin' war in the Middle East, and it's like, who wants? Like, it's just going to be bad for business, And I always believe like the United States, we're in a really unique position because we are so far away from the action. I mean, we got the Atlantic Ocean to our east, and we have the Pacific Ocean to our west. And we have friendly countries in the north with Canada, and then in the south with Mexico. These countries, they don't really like pose a military threat to the United States. So because of that, we can just kind of like focus on our own thing, like our own domestic, issues that we have. And yes, we are aware of what's going on around the world, but I'm kind of the mindset, like, it's like, that's not for us. Like, that's not our responsibility to be meddling in these issues. And like with Ukraine, for example, like, you have to understand, like, those borders have been fought over for a long time, longer than we've been alive. And those borders are not set in stone. And frankly, like, I know with Ukraine, like on the eastern flank of Ukraine, there's a lot of Slavic people that actually they speak Russian, and they're more kind of like, they have more ties, cultural ties to Russia than Ukraine. Even though they're in Ukraine, they kind of want to side with Russia, or you could see how, they're just ethnically like the same people. So I'm I think that's kind of how it's going to go. Is like the eastern part of Ukraine is going to kind of like become like absorbed into Russia, and then the we're still recording. Um, but yeah, no. But the United States, I don't know. It's kind of a political thing, honestly. Like, do we send money over to Ukraine? I think if we got the money, we can. I think it's actually a fallacy. If you read or if you listen to a lot of these like right wing YouTube channels, they'll make it sound like, oh man, every dollar we send to Ukraine, like we're printing all this money and that's what's causing inflation and all this stuff. I was actually talking to a financial advisor yesterday, and he was actually saying like that's actually not the case. Like what you said, it's misleading to think that because we're printing all this money, that's like why inflation is running rampant. He's like, that's not really like what's happening. He's like, what's happening, or the way he described it was like it is true that like it's not the actual money supply that's increasing, it's the purchasing power of the dollar when it's compared to other currencies. So like if you compare like the US dollar to the British pound or the euro, like the purchasing power of the dollar is like way more now than than like compared to those other currencies. So like if you've ever been to like Europe, like England, because they had the Brexit thing, so they have their own currency now versus like the euro in France and all the other European countries. Like it used to be like the euro was like way more than the dollar. Like it's almost like for every $1, it's like 1.5 euros. Now it's like actually like coming down, like the British pound is almost literally point for point, and it's never been like that. And it's just the fact that the United States is really good economically. I don't know what to say. Like I don't know if you've ever been to Europe, but like if you're like a French guy and you just go to lunch, they'll eat lunch for like 3 hours. They'll just be sitting at the table for a while. And they don't like, they could go back to work, but they don't really, they're just different culturally. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong because frankly, I think they kind of like have, like on average, they are happier than the United States because United States, like Americans, will just work ourselves to death to make money because we just like feel like that's what we need to do. Like we're capitalists, whereas like the Europeans, they're like, it's not all about that. Like it's about having a nice little like drink at lunch with your friends and just like being social and talking and stuff. Whereas the United States is a little different. But it has, reverberations economically when, the United States, we make a lot of money, especially compared to other countries. And we, not only do we make a lot of money, but we also produce better quality products than anybody else. And like I just got done describing with like the geographical reasons why the United States is safe. Like we have the oceans to our east and west. Essentially, I don't mean to give you guys like a historical wrap up of like what history is or like why the United States like seems to have it all and all these other countries I would say are not superpowers like the United States. It's because after World War II, when basically all of Europe got bombed to smithereens, and Europe was the leading power in the world in like the 1900s, most of it, at least the beginning part of the 1900s. Like Europe was like, especially in like the 1800s, of course, it was like the Netherlands, like Amsterdam, like the Dutch. They were like a superpower in like, I want to say like the 1600s. And then Great Britain with its British Empire, they were like a superpower. And obviously Napoleon with France in the early 1800s, they were a superpower. But Europe in general was dominant United States was not. We were a brand new nation. I love how you just like see like a fish just like as I'm trying to make like a point, the fish is just like but um but the United States, anyways, after World War II, we were the only country left standing. So we just developed economically and we just had a head start. We're like the most stable currency. So um, like we just kind of like think about like capitalism too. It's like money makes money. So once you get a little bit of it, it's easy to get a lot. And that's kind of like what happened with the United States and with a lot of people in the US. So anyways, man, that's a lot of stuff. I think we wrap it up here, but I will keep everybody updated with my takes on sports. You're listening to Around the Reef.